Oh, what's up, Matt?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. What'd you want to talk about?
Uh, well, you want to talk about? I don't know. You can decide. You were saying convincing you on why you should vote for Bernie
Yeah,
and
tell me
healthcare.
why should I vote for Bernie?
Uh, well, I mean, we can talk about what issue you want to talk about. Healthcare. You decide. I think you were saying
Well,
capitalism is the best thing for healthcare.
well, the free market is for sure. Why don't you tell me why the government should do health care and not individuals and charity?
Okay, so if I would say that if individuals and charity were going to be good at healthcare, then this whole Medicare for all talk and universal healthcare, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
Hmm.
Why would we even be talking about Medicare for all if these charities were going to, as you say, take over and basically pretty much front the bill for people who need healthcare?
Hmm.
And I'll just kind of let you go from there.
Well, I would say that the one you'd have to ask one of the problems with medical care. I think we can all agree is of how expensive it is, and you have to ask why is it expensive. And I'll give you an example. So, FDA just passed regulations for vape juice. FDA regulations stated that if I want to introduce a new vape juice product, now vape juice is nothing more than vegetable glycerin, some PG, something glycerin, and then just natural flavors and nicotine. So FDA passed a law that said if you want to sell vape juice on the market, you have to get it FDA approved, and to do that, the going rate to get a new bottle of vape juice approved to be sold on the market is about $300,000. Now, where is that price going to come? Well, how's the company going to pay for it? Well, they're going to make the bottle of vape juice more expensive. So the reason government healthcare, one of the reasons, there's a lot, but one of the main reasons government healthcare is so expensive is because the tremendous amount of money required to get something FDA approved. And so,
Sorry, let's back up for a second.
mhm.
Government healthcare is expensive right now, or are you saying the healthcare that because we currently don't?
Oh, sorry.
I
The
mean,
healthcare system that we have right now, the reason the prices are so high is because of the tremendous cost to get healthcare, new healthcare procedures or any procedure or policy really government approved. The tremendous amount of government regulations required to even build a hospital is enormous. The amount of money you would spend just to get the government to approve your hospital. So all those sort of things factor into your cost of healthcare. In addition, you have corrupt healthcare lobbyist groups who petition the government to create regulations. So we see this with big tobacco. Big tobacco petitions the government to regulate vaping. Vaping goes up because the FDA is in the way. So the solution to make government healthcare cheaper is to get the government out of the way. And your solution is to bring in more government. And you
okay,
think that if more government will make things cheaper.
okay. So I have a question to you. Do you know how much in profit healthcare companies made last year?
I
How
hope
much
they made a
profit?
lot.
Do you know how much though? How
No.
much? Okay. So last year, healthcare. This is profit, mind you. This is after all
Yeah.
regulation talk, everything. They
Mm-hmm.
made the tune of over $100 billion. Well over that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You don't think that the reason why healthcare is so expensive? I agree. We have a problem with regulation, and everything. You know what the number one cost of healthcare was last year?
I mean,
Admitted
what pretty much what you're saying is that they made $100 billion in profits.
hundred. The healthcare companies made $100 billion in profit, while we have what millions of people still underinsured.
Yeah, but just
How
just
you?
just well, let me address that point. I mean, $100 billion in profit. If you were to give that back and put that back into the healthcare system to reduce the prices, $100 billion isn't going to reduce the prices that much.
No, no. But here's the thing. Okay? We have
Well,
we
that's
have
important because
no,
you're
no.
you're
I
you're
agree.
you're you're looking at
I
their
agree.
profits and saying that well they made so much money in profit, and I'm saying well that's not really a lot in comparison of the cost of prices. So something else is contributing to their high prices, not just their want for profit.
Sorry about that. Got a bad cough. So the healthcare we have right now, basically what we have a for-profit middleman when it comes to healthcare. So when you think about insurance, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of insurance, right? So the purpose of insurance is that everyone basically pools their money together, and basically the healthy people subsidize the sick people. Okay, you take out the middleman, aka the insurance companies, healthcare prices are, and we have tons of studies proving that. There are, even from, I guess you say, the right wing think tanks.
I agree with you that the health insurance companies are corrupt, evil organizations. My position is that the reason they're corrupt, evil organizations is because the government allows them to be. And the way to get rid of them is to get the government out of the way and let the free market just do what it does. And so one of the solutions to the healthcare industry in terms of health insurance is an organization called Samaritan Ministries. Now, you can join Samaritan Ministries. You have to be a member of a church. But if you're a member of a church, you can join Samaritan Ministries, and then instead of paying a health insurance company every month for health insurance, you just pay someone else's bill. So you, based on your total. So if your total's $300 a month, you pay $300 to some individual who broke their leg. And then Samaritan is the one that orchestrates that and organizes it in such a way that everybody, no one's getting paid extra or no one's cheating the system or whatever. So that's a solution that's based on a free market. It doesn't require a healthcare industry, and it doesn't require the government at all. So what I'm saying is that there are solutions that don't require stealing from other people or stealing money from other people.
What do you mean by stealing? Just a kind of
what do you mean? What do I mean by stealing? I mean stealing. Stealing is immoral.
Do you think? Because I know a lot of people think this. Do you think that every American citizen should be required to pay for healthcare? Like, should you be able to say, "Hey, I don't want to pay for healthcare. I don't care if I get sick. I will basically front that bill."
Are you saying that should every American be required to pay for healthcare?
I'm saying, let's just say, Obama had that law. He had a law passed basically saying that every American had to pay for healthcare, and that if you didn't get health insurance, you'd get penalized. Do you think, as an American, it should be your right to choose your ability to say, "Hey, I don't want to pay for health insurance"?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, why?
Because because it's a free country and I should be able to use my money as I want.
Okay. So if every single person adopts your same exact mindset and they have this mindset of like, oh, I'll just be, it's fine. It's like, what happens to health insurance now? We'll say every insurance, car insurance, everything. Everyone adopts this mindset of, oh yeah, I'm not going to pay it. What happens then?
Then they don't pay it, and the prices go down because the law of supply and demand.
No, what happens is if everyone has the exact same mindset you do, no one's paying into insurance. Guess what? When you go to the hospital now, you're going to front that bill completely. Everyone's going to front the
That's okay. That's okay.
Why is that? Why is that okay?
Because I have the option.
So you don't agree with insurance, period?
No, I don't agree in forcing people to get insurance.
Well, whether you agree of forcing it or not, if people don't get it, then the structure falls down. That's not really an argument. You can't sit there and say, oh, well, I don't want someone to force me health insurance, but then say, I understand the purpose of insurance. The purpose of insurance is that people that aren't actually using the insurance subsidize the people that need it. That's the whole purpose. So what you're saying is, I am strongmanning you. What I'm saying is that every single person in the United States is going to adopt your mindset. We're not going to pay for insurance, period. So
yes.
That means that if people start getting sick, they're going to have to start paying for this insurance out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And if they can't pay for it, then you don't get care. And if it's something serious, you die.
Well, I guess my question is, if somebody doesn't want to get insurance, why do they have to get insurance? That seems pretty totalitarian to me.
Okay, what about do you think police officers? We all know we pay police officers through taxes, right? Do you think we should change the system in which instead of using services like police officers, firefighters, we'll pay the departments directly, and if you don't pay your portion directly to the police department or the firefighters, you don't get service. So if something happens to you, you get shot, your house is burning down, you don't pay, you don't get service. And we'll kind of base this on income. So basically, if you have the money, you can get service. If you don't, then you don't get service. Would you support something like that?
Well. See, it seems like you're saying that there's only two options. Is that if you don't pay, you don't get service. But that's not entirely true. It's not true with police. If I were not pay for police and chose not to use police, I could still arm myself and protect myself and my family. And with health insurance, if I choose not to have health insurance, I can still find other ways to pay for my health care, such as a GoFundMe, or such as my local church can come together and help. There's other ways to do it. It's not just if you don't have health insurance, you don't get money for health care. That's not true. And so if you got rid of if you got rid of the health insurance, it would force people to be more creative and find ways to pay for stuff on their own. And it would force the health companies to reduce their prices so more average people can actually afford their services. But if you have healthcare industry, but let me just ask you this: do you think it's immoral to not pay for? Do you think government healthcare is immoral? Or if you don't have government healthcare, do you think it's immoral that our country doesn't have government healthcare?
1,000%. Yeah.
1,000%. Where do you get your? How do you determine whether or not something is moral or immoral? Where is that from?
All right. I know you like the whole moral debate. I'm basically.
Well, this is important because it's an important moral discussion we're having right now. And for you to say, well, I don't really want to get involved in where our morality comes from, we're sort of we're assuming there's a common morality, and yet obviously our morals are completely different.
I'll just say this. If your belief is simply this, that if the person that you don't know, you've never met them, if they die because they don't have access to healthcare, if your argument is saying that, well, I don't care, well, then there's nothing really to debate, because your belief is simply you don't care whether or not that person has healthcare or not.
Why is that moral or immoral, whether or not I care for healthcare? Where does that come from?
But no, that's what I'm saying. There's no reason for. I'm not gonna debate you. I'm saying if your belief is that, hey, this person doesn't get healthcare, they die. I'm not going to have a moral debate about something that you already made your mind up on, of me trying to convince you.
I never said that we should just ignore people who don't have health care and let them die. I'm saying that there's other ways to take care of them besides the government.
That's just not true. If the way
sure it is. Samaritan Ministries is a great example of this. It's not the government. It's completely private. The government is not involved, and it's individuals willingly paying for other people's health care. Okay. So there's an actual probable in-place solution that you just don't want to look at as it's a valid.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but this is interesting. Do you honestly believe that if this was a real viable solution, why hasn't it been done yet? Do you think a guy like Bernie Sanders, regardless of whatever your opinion on him, who's been fighting for these rights for the last 30 years, if he thought that was a viable solution, why hasn't it been tried yet?
Because he likes to steal rich people's money. And he's a big government statist who believes the state is God and the solution to all the problems.
Bernie Sanders is considered one of the poorest senators, so I don't really find that as an argument, saying that he likes to steal government. He works for the government. Fine, whatever. That's.
But he does like to. He likes to use he likes to take billionaires' money. That's theft. He talks about it all the time, taking billionaires' money. That's theft. Stealing is immoral. It doesn't matter who does it.
What do you mean stealing billionaires' money?
I mean, the government taking money from billionaires is immoral. It's theft.
So let's I do want to talk about billionaires, but let's go back to healthcare because you talked about the ministry.
We're talking about ultimately we're talking about theft because somebody has to pay for the healthcare. And so my question to you is, why is stealing not immoral according to you?
Why is this one of those like taxation is theft type? Do you believe taxation is theft?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Of course it is.
Fine. Okay, so you believe that none of us should have to pay for any taxes?
Right. I think there could be voluntary systems of taxation, but I don't believe in involuntary systems of taxation.
Have you ever you ever heard of Dave Ramsey, the financial guru guy?
I've heard of him, yeah.
I think he's mentioned, I don't know if it's the same ministry, but they call it Christian ministry. It's not healthcare. It's not something like that. Is that basically the same?
It's medical sharing. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Medical sharing. Again, I would just go back to if that was a real thing, we wouldn't. If
it
that
is
was
a real thing.
Solution, I'm not saying it's not a real thing. I don't doubt that it's out there. What I'm saying is that if it was a viable solution, we wouldn't even be having this conversation about healthcare.
That's not true. Like, no, it's not true. Because people like Bernie Sanders want to make the government as large as possible because their status. They believe that the government is the solution to problems as opposed to individuals being the solution to problems. And so even if I were to present to him a solution that does work like Samaritan, he would reject it because at his core of what he views, he believes the government is the solution and standard to problems, not individuals.
So let me understand this correctly. You think that the money generated by these churches and communities and everything would be enough to support healthcare?
Certainly.
Do you have any numbers to back that up?
If you're asking me, can they support? I mean, you could look at Samaritan's number. They have millions of people that are members of them, and they pay, and they never have a month go by where not all the bills are paid.
Okay, if they have millions, so let me understand this right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just curious, what is your major gripe with the idea is your major gripe with the healthcare is that you think that individuals should basically choose whether or not they want to help other people?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you honestly believe that these small group of people can support the people that need health insurance?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You believe it.
Of course I don't believe it.
No, you do believe it. You do. Of course you do.
We have tons.
Of course you do. Because
I will out of my own curiosity after the call, I will look up to see if there's any local ones, and I will call and ask to find out how much coverage is or how exactly it works.
No, what I'm saying is you believe that a group of people can come together and pay for the health care of an entire nation.
Yeah. We have,
but the difference is I believe people can do that completely on their own, whereas you're saying it can only be done if the government forces to.
You're living in a fairy tale world. They're not going.
I'm not.
If that was a solution, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Your argument
it is a solution.
No, it's not. If it was a solution, your argument is basically this. Oh, I don't think these people know about this service. Do you honestly believe that? Do you think okay, I don't know if you have healthcare, whether you have healthcare or not. I have healthcare, all right? If I didn't have healthcare, if I'm someone who's really struggling, you don't think as an individual I would be searching for these so-called programs? Come on, man. You cannot sit there and tell me that you actually believe that if these were viable solutions, that people wouldn't be going after them. And your argument is like, well, I'll just be the good guy and pay for healthcare. That's just not how the world works. That's like the capitalist argument. Oh, we'll just a bunch of charities will take everything over and help pay for it. If that was the case, we wouldn't even be having the conversation. But
well, why would charities step into place if the government's doing the stuff?
No charity. That's the point. There's no charity. If charities were going to take care of healthcare,
they do.
We wouldn't have healthcare.
But charities help all the time.
I'm sure they do, but there are still millions of people who are underinsured. People are dying every single year. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's not working. And at the end of the day, we have statistic after statistic after study after study proving that Medicare for all would be far more affordable.
Is that your standard statistics? Is that your standard for what's moral or immoral if the statistics work?
What? Look, for me, at the end of the day, I care about what comes out of my pocket.
I mean, we're having a moral conversation here. We're discussing whether or not government healthcare is all politics are moral discussions. So in this instance, we're discussing whether or not it's moral for the government to take money from other people and use it for other people. And so my question to you ultimately will be, what is moral or immoral? How do you determine that? And I understand if you don't want to have that conversation, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if we're not having that conversation of what's moral and immoral, we're wasting our time.
I'll just say this. It's not about whether I want to have the conversation. It's all about the fact that you've already made up your mind.
Of course.
You've made up your moral. I can't sit here. I can't convince you on your morals. Just like for example, we don't have to talk about this yet. So this is a totally separate subject. I'm of the belief that in terms of pro-life and pro-choice, I'm pro-life. Those are my morals. I don't care.
Why?
Why? In terms of pro-life and pro-choice?
Yeah.
Why am I pro-life?
Mm-hmm.
I just believe in the sanctity of life. Those are my morals. So on a moral level, regardless of what your opinion is or what you say to me, you're not going to change my morals on that. So it's obvious in terms of morality. Why do I believe in terms of healthcare? My morals are simply this. I believe that we have a duty as to society to give every single American citizen quality healthcare. Those are my morals. Simple as that. I don't like the idea of somebody dying or someone not having the ability to go to healthcare. Now, if your belief is
what if the government provides free abortions? Would you support that? Under the banner of healthcare? Yeah, no. Yeah. If abortions were part of the healthcare plan, you would be against that?
I mean, I would. I'll be honest with you. Every single Democratic candidate that came out is obviously they're all pro-choice. I am pro-life, so I am aware of the fact.
Well, I'm glad you're pro-life. My question to you is just to look a little bit deeper and to ask yourself why you're pro-life. Where does your morality come from? Because you're saying that my mind is already made up when it comes to morality, and I would agree. But my question for you is, I mean, it doesn't matter if my mind's made up. What matters is from where we get morality from. And so I get morality from the scriptures. That's how I determine what's right and what's wrong. And so in scriptures, I can see, for example, in 1 Samuel 8, that taxation at 10% is seen as a judgment of God. 10% taxation is, I mean, we're taxed way more than that. And then in 1 Samuel 8, the warning is, if you elect a king, the king will take 10% of what you have. And that's crazy to even think about that we would consider that. So I have a standard for taxation that's outside of myself.
I like the idea of we can talk about taxation. So my opinion on taxation.
I know you want to talk about taxation, but you don't want to talk about the moral foundation for taxation.
No. So I'm gonna sound a little bit contradictory because I'm gonna argue. So it's funny. So I do believe taxation. I'm gonna say I know I'm gonna sound contradictory here. So taxation is theft. I'm just not smart enough in this area in terms of budget. I just don't know if, as a society, I don't have the information. I don't know enough about this. If we could actually support some of the structural aspects of society without taxes. Now, if someone could lay down something to me and proving to me no, this can be done, then I'd be like, why do we have taxes? So for me, it sounds super contradictory. If you show me things get rid of federal income, get rid of federal taxes, why it is kind of one of those things between sales tax and state taxes. You got tolls. People paying money on the tolls. Why is the federal budget so huge? It is kind of a cop-out answer a little bit.
Dude, the fact that you just said that just invalidates this whole phone call. Like I know you admit it's contradictory, and I'm glad you admit it's contradictory.
It is contradictory, but at the end of the day, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, like in terms of what we're actually spending and all, like how much these.
Oh, it's not about numbers; it's about morality. So it doesn't even matter if the numbers say it works. It's still immoral to do it. So anyways, dude, I am tired. I've been streaming for like 4 or 5 hours straight. It's getting late here, but it has been great to talk to you. Your name is Matt. What state are you from, Matt?
Math.
Where?
Math.
Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that your accent sounds familiar. But again,
thanks.
But thanks for talking, dude. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really great.
All right, man. You have a good night.
All right, bye.